Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent. The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
All right. Shalom, salama, Piemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Sorry, I had to get a couple sips. Finally getting a little bit over this head cold. It's going to take a little bit, family. It is pollen season here in definitely here in Tampa where I'm at. And for about a good month or so, the pollen, it creeps up. It builds up. We get a cold front and knocks it down, but when it gets knocked down, the pollen's still heavily saturated in the air. And, you can have as much as you want in terms of antihistamines and honeys, things of that nature. It's just that this is a time of the year that everything gets messed up. And for me, with my sinuses and having issues historically, that's just what happens. Can't get around it. It's just life. So that's where and how I go through these earlier times, the New Year's, the Hebrew New Year's, the calendar years. Listen, give me a second. All right, sorry, family. So you don't have to hear the sounds of the body. The mucusy things going on. But that's a good thing because that's drainage, and Once that drainage hits, then I can actually hear better. I can actually speak better. Uh, throat's a little, my throat's sore. That's just how that goes. My throat is just really, really sore. So I am trying my best. I think I overdid it yesterday. And the reality is that I haven't really been on that where I've been speaking like that for over 2 hours daily. And man, now I understand there's a reason why you had folks doing lectures differently at different times. I get it. And so, oh, Ray has sinus issues too. Oh, don't think it just affects me. Oh, it affects the dog. I heard him. Next thing I know, I see all sorts of stuff going on with him. And I said, oh boy. The only thing I could say was, thank you, Father, that my sinuses were real messed up. Because I was like, what is that? What is that? I heard him panting around. I know when he's panting around, he needs to go. And I'm like, okay, Ray. I said, give me a second. Because, you know, when you're not feeling good, it takes you an extra minute to just get your body right. You know, I take all the stuff for the immune system. My immune system is actually pretty good. This is, yeah, yeah. Look, I deal with 13, 14-year-old kids all day for 6 weeks. My immune system is actually really good. It's just that, no, when you come here to Tampa and you've come here to Florida and the pollen is literally caked on to your vehicle, it's cake. It's a different type of pollen here because it's kind of like north of that Caribbean subtropical area. Yeah, people come here and they get taken out by this pollen. That's why people come and they go, oh, I didn't really enjoy my vacation in Florida. I was sick the whole time. That's why I tell people, like, don't, if you come here to Florida, don't come to Florida on spring break because you will get sick because your body's not going to be used to all that pollen, and it heavily, heavily pollinates. And I'm usually outside most of the time on a walk with my dog. So it's just at this time of the year, every Floridian gets sick. Every Floridian, it does. You get sick earlier, you get sick later, and then you'll get sick again. Sorry, I got family calling. So yeah, so it's the decline was happening. I get sick for a good 2-3 days. I'm stuffed up, things of that nature. Um, Drinking all the teas, taking all the supplements, everything that you can imagine. And then you just get the fallout because you're literally dealing with an organism based sinus infection, and that is the pollen that just happens. So get mucousy, get your sinuses. The one thing I always try to make sure is that it doesn't get down into my chest area. It'll get down to my throat, but if it gets down to your chest, that's when that's when things start to turn bad. That's when things start to hurt. So yeah, yeah, lemons and oranges actually do the trick. The problem is that this year, especially with being here in Florida, um, a lot of crops are not being picked. A lot of things are dying in terms of vegetation. Vegetation doesn't even make it to the produce. Doesn't even make it to the table. And the quality of vegetation is not there anymore because you don't have the hands for processing. You don't have the hands and the eyes to process the fruits and vegetables. Florida grows fruits and vegetables year round. And that is what's happening because a lot of what we have is very um it's imported. And now understand as you're looking at the world scene, right? You now are being forced to look beyond what it is that they're showing you. Look, the way that this system wants to show you the smoke and mirrors. It wants to show you the dark sentences. It's not the truth. There is a truth of this matter that the system has to deal with, and they just don't want to deal with it because it's not for us to deal with. See, for us, they can show us the real system all day, every day. It doesn't matter. We are not the benefactors of the system. And I know that that's hard for us to understand this. We are not the benefactors of their system. Okay? I want to put this to you in the most, I guess, polite and honestly, it's a dynamic. It's really an interesting dynamic. We are a we are a role player in a game where the NPCs get the benefit. And the NPCs are literally non-player characters, but they feel everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we align ourselves with, everything that we speak out against, everything that we have a strong feeling against. They feel it because this role-playing game of Captivity 1619. Maybe I'll ask Manus AI to create a captivity game for us where we are in different stages. 1619, we come on out, we work hard, and then, we achieve a dream, not the American dream, right? And then stage two, the hard periods from 1641 to about 1865. The surviving the whip. And then we'll have the Reconstruction, the Deer of the South. And then we'll have the 1920s to 1930s, Renaissance, up to about the 1950s and 60s. And because at each time that we've had to go through some things, when we go through them, and what ends up happening is, as a people, we reject the system. There's a point in time where we reject the system, and then the system has to rebrand and recalibrate. Please check out Sister Shar's channel, Judge Shar. Please check out her channel. If you haven't checked out anyone's channel, please check her channel out. She's every Monday, and she has her videos on in there. But we had an awesome conversation. I tell you, when you have awesome spirit-filled conversations, and then you wake up well rested. This was so yesterday was the very first day in probably about 2 months that I was able to get a full 7.5 hours of sleep. I went to bed at 10:15. I woke up at 5:45. I woke up so groggy and tired. It took my eyes literally about 2 minutes to actually adjust. My sinuses were clear. I had to cough up a little bit of some things of what had settled. Ray was okay. And I had to get up for a little bit and really think about some of the things that was going on, because during that time I had an interesting dream, and these dreams are something that I've had occur to me very often. And if you've been on this channel for more than a, what, 3-4 years, I have always told you all that I look at Gentiles differently. My ex-wife is a Gentile. Go ahead, unsubscribe. I've never hid that. But when Sister Shara and I were talking, because we go over, we talk about scripture because of how it does affect us in our community. Something that came to mind was the residents in Ohio, our people in Lincoln Heights, and how they were trying to get our people to be engaged with the narrative now of the criminal element. Garth had made a pretty interesting point of mask and the way that mask has us as a vigilante. And remember, the vigilantism, that's them. They always like that Bruce Wayne stuff, the dark sun, the shadow, the bat, the shadow, the shadowy talk. That's what they live in. That's darkness. They love it. And see, they've tried their best to get us as the RPG in this role playing multi generational game to react to the NPCs. That's what they are. They're multi generational NPCs. And the way that this goes is that the more you are constricted by the non-player multi-generational NPCs, because why? Because their power isn't their power germanely. It's not their power directly. And let me tell you about how the Ruach like literally walloped me in my dream, because this was the very first dream that I said, okay, Father, I thank you. This had gone on for a couple of months. And I realized that I started to win the battle in my dream. Because do you understand that your dreams literally are how you are fighting in the spiritual and what is manifesting in the natural? Because your dreams are literally giving you a self-reflection point, not to get esoterical, not to get, in whatever season that's aligning with, the whatever nonsense. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how in the scriptures the Most High speaks to his people in what? In dreams. He spoke to Samuel in what? In a dream. Samuel thought that Eli was calling him. And Eli said, when you dream again and the Most High calls you, you say, here I am, your servant is here. But in my dream, I am always hard headed in what I'm trying to do, because I'm always trying to save people. In my dream, I'm trying to save people. And then I'm not able to save that person in my dream. And then I wake up and that has me feeling a certain sort of way. And then that gets my day started, that gets my week started. That's the countenance, that's the tone, because my dream has caused me to err against the Most High. And when I had awakened in that dream, the dream was a lot different. And literally, as the Most High was waking me up out of the dream, The Ruach said, Karis, stop fighting a fight. That's not your fight. The battle belongs to Yahuwah. And I had to say, wait a second, Father, come again. But he only has to talk once. And I knew when I felt that in my spirit, I understood. See, what we're doing is when we think that we are living in this multi-generational role-playing game, when we think that we're fighting in this multi-generational role-playing game, it's going to be hard for you all. I understand it. This is going to be real hard because this message was real hard on me. You're not the only one. Trust me, it was hurting me too. He says the more you are trying to fight the system, the more you're losing against the system because the system isn't designed to have you fight. Because we always forget that the battle belongs to Yahuwah. Our job is to die to the system. Because we have to die to this world. See, we always get and misinterpret what was being taught in the Eurocentric churches. Don't forget that the Eurocentric churches, for all of its flaws, it had to teach truth every once in a while for what? For the lie to work. You cannot be an effective liar if you don't have any type of biblical truths. And that was the biblical truth because why? Because when we live for our vanity, we want to try to save a system that is dying and a system that is dead because we don't want to say, Father, I'm tired of playing this game. Father, please log me on out and please reset the game. We've been told in this wicked behind system, no, you got to keep doing, you got to keep going, and you want to know what we've never been told? To surrender and let the Most High. This is why they can never find peace because they always want to try to win against a game that's always dying and corrupt, especially our people. And it's our people that set the tone of this game. And have you noticed that the more our people are saying, you know what, we give up. We just want to die to this system and start and look somewhere else. They're no longer looking towards Babylon. Some folks are looking towards other things. Look, I look at it like this. It's always a spiritual journey. But when they start that journey, they're going to end up on Yahuwah through his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. or they're going to end up in rebellion. And a lot of our people are starting to realize that they are Israelites. I don't care what group you're coming across. I don't care if you're talking to Star Childs that have the Ankhs and everything else. Yeah, I know I'm an Israelite, but the Ankh, it predates Israel, but I'm an Israelite because these are the curses. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. It's a spiritual thing. These are all the trappings that the enemy has. We had trappings with the camps. We had trappings with our own pastors. We had trappings with everything that was designed to keep us in a state of suspended animation. And you know, the very funny, the first thing I knew how I was being effective was when 3 weeks ago, I said, Father, I'm tired. And I said, Father, I choose to serve just you and you only. I said, Father, I come to the realization I'm not going to be able to save my family. And right then and there, I had to ask the Most High to forgive me. I said, Father, forgive me that I'm not going to be able to save my family. Because the world has taught me to do what I can do with all my heart, all my soul, and all my strength. And Father, I had to realize that what the world was saying contradicts what your word says, because your word says to trust in you with all my heart and all my soul and all my strength. And I said, Father, as for my family, I said, I give them to you because they're not my family. I said, Father, they're your family. And I'm going to take comfort in that, Father, that you are guiding them and you are protecting them. And even though I can't say anything to them, I said, I thank you, Father, because you can. That was Thursday night. And I went to bed with tears in my eyes. And I just said, Father, I just thank you. I said, this is hard, but I just thank you. And I went to bed. 24 hours later, my ex wife calls me. And this is in regards to an insurance thing that my son's going through with for car insurance. And let me tell you, as I spoke, matter of fact, I'm going to tell you this. I got annoyed at her calling me. I'm just going to be fair. I'm just going to be truthful. I got mad at her calling me. I said, hello. Because usually I always say, good evening. Try to be respectful, try to be nice. I just picked up, I'm like, hello. Because this is at the start of Shabbat. And I was actually trying to get some stuff done. Because look, I'm dealing with kids. I'm dealing with kids. I just got off the phone with my son. I'm thinking that I'm getting ready to, go down to or go up to Jacksonville to try to find a vehicle for him. Had to deal with some other things for the car earlier that week. And then, I had some things going on in my mind. And honestly, I didn't want to talk to her. Because usually when I talk to her, I end up feeling a certain sort of way in my flesh, and I'm just like, "All right, Father." I was actually annoyed. I said, "Father, I just gave this to you yesterday, and you're literally having her call me right now." Like, it hasn't even been 24 hours. Like, maybe give me like a week, or give me like 2 or 3 weeks. A month at the best. I didn't want to. I didn't feel like calling her. I didn't even feel like talking to her. And I said, okay, I gotta take this call because I had a feeling it was dealing with insurance because I had a call regarding that from my oldest son earlier that day. And with me being in my classes, I can only talk for so long. And it's hard for me to kind of switch gears when I'm trying to do about three, four things at once during my little breaks. And for me, I was just going to get it taken care of. Insurance isn't my lane, it's actually my ex wife's lane. But honestly, I didn't want to deal with her. And when I answered the phone, usually I'll start off the conversation and, ramble and stuff like that. But I answered the phone and I just let her talk. And honestly, I was getting irate because I'm like, man, I need to run to Publix real quick before Shabbat. I need to grab this. I need to grab that. And I just kind of laughed. I said, Father, was this some sort of a joke? But as she was talking, she was discussing my son's vehicle choice of wanting a BMW and things of that nature. And I told her, I said, yeah, I said, listen, we do things and we learn things the hard way. So I told her, I said, look, I just have to keep it in the Most High's hands. And she had agreed. And that actually kind of that floored me. I was like, wow, okay. I said I'll still take them to, go see the vehicles and things of that nature. I said, but I said I'm not enthusiastic about it. And then I had told her, I said, hey, I don't want to be short with you, but I've had a week dealing with these kids, and I told her, I said, hey, if I didn't tell you, I said, I just want to let you know again, thank you for homeschooling our children. I appreciate that. And then, that had opened up the conversation, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. She's really talking. I said, and I'm really inconvenienced because I need to go to Publix because the Publix is down here in Florida. If you go into them, they're always dead zones. Like they'll literally cut your phones off. They have I don't know if they have dampeners on in there for a reason. But I said, all right, well, I'm not going to be able to really get some food from Publix. So as I was still on the phone with my ex-wife, I said, let me go ahead and try to find something around here. And close to where I live is Chick-fil-A and a Steak and Shake. I know, not two of the best choices. But I was like, you know what, man? I just need to have something because I hadn't eaten. I hadn't eaten since breakfast, and it was about 8. And usually when I eat breakfast, it's about 6:30. So it was a good 14, almost 15 hours I hadn't eaten. And so when I had went on out, it was a little cold. It was chilly. I didn't even have on. Usually, I'll put on like some sweatpants or long pants, athletic pants or something, and maybe like a hoodie. I'm telling you, I was slumming it. I still had on my college shirt, athletic shorts, and flip flops. And I was talking to her, getting ready to go into a drive-through, and she says, "Karis, hold on." Now I'm like, "That's weird," because usually it'll just be like, "Goodbye." And I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, did I just have an actual conversation with my ex-wife, and you know, them principalities were not able to work on her? And the next thing I know, she calls me back. And that's when she's in distress. And I said, slow down, calm down. I could see she was in distress. I heard she was in distress, and my spirit felt that she was in distress. And I said, wait a second. I said, calm down. She said, it's our son. He's been in an accident. And as I'm getting ready to pull in to the drive through area, I veered off. I said, okay. I said, relax, calm down, and tell me exactly what happened. Because in America, and this is what you're now seeing folks dealing with right now, that I'm a strong woman thing. I'm woman, hear me roar approach. Our country's the only country that goes through that nonsense, right? And tries to export that nonsense. And other countries, other women in the countries around the world's like, what's the matter with y'all? Now, I'm sure that Brittany Griner was feeling the same way until she was ordered to pay child support. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But it was interesting because you have to understand she has to keep her guard up around me because understand I'm crazy because I believe that we're the people of the book. I believe that we're the people in captivity. And you have to understand that in this role playing universe game of captivity, the bylaws and the laws and the dark policies that they have to abide in, if they don't play the game correctly, understand that there becomes problems for them. Y'all realize this game is not for the faint of heart. Just the conversation of a potential breakthrough with my ex-wife, do you realize the ire that the devil literally tried to rip off the door for where my son was sitting at to kill him? Because why? Imagine when you have a white lady rebelling against the system, especially at this time. You don't have the sons and daughters of Grecia. They can't rebel against the system at this time because why? Because they made a covenant. Not only did they make a covenant, but their family made the covenant. Because if the idea of talking to someone that the system had labeled as crazy and the Most High bringing an understanding of getting them out of darkness, do you understand how many people can be affected off of her testimony of being covered in lies and then waking up from the lie and then waking up from the vanity and understanding the destruction of vanity that's occurring right now? Don't get it twisted. It's occurring right now. Have you noticed how they don't even want to talk about the stock market? Yeah, they're going to give a rally because why? Because they have to pump money into this game to keep their insanity intact. But it's going to continue to slide and slide and slide. That's why they want us in their protest. I need the RPGs. I need these role playing characters, these multi generational characters. I need their power because once they're able to speak life into the system that's dying, then I can have their power and I could be empowered to do what? To have them die. Do you get it? Our death is literally their life because we are dying to a system that's dying. Because we choose to die every single day. We choose to die. And everything that they give us, you choose death in a death culture, and that's how this death culture works. But when you said, you know what, I'm going to die to this death culture so that I may live through Yahuwah, guess what that does? That cancels everything out. Our people are beginning to understand this and they're beginning to say, you know what? RIP 2025, that's the day I died in this culture. See, y'all, I don't know if y'all really understood the Deagle report and that Deagle report's spiritual connotation on that. 200 million Americans lost. Probably. That was just a population change. Get that right. It didn't mean that everybody died. That was a population change. It was a population delta of negative 200 million from the 330 million. Get it right. Didn't mean everybody died. But I believe this is what I believe. I believe that this is the year that when our people say that they're coming to the end of the race, they're coming to the end of the game that's being played on them. I'm done. Cut it. I'm done. Cut it. Cut the tape. I'm finished the race. I'm done. Don't you want to continue to run more? You can run more and run, and you run some more and you get a Bugatti. You run some more and you get a mansion. You run some more and you get a G5. You run some more. Come on. We need you to run. You can have courtside seats to a Lakers game, a Knicks game, a Houston game. You can have 50-yard yard line tickets to a Bucks game, a Cowboys game. Come on. I just need you to keep running. I need you to run. I need you. Don't stop, because once you stop, then everything falls apart. And we're saying, you know what? That's not good enough. You know, when I look at the African nations that were on that report yesterday at QTUA, the 43 African nations are nations, some of them are of African descent, African affiliated with Caribbean nations. Those are nations that are now having problems. Those are nations that are now having problems controlling the narrative, controlling us in this multi generational role playing NPC games. Remember, they're only as strong as what we allow them to be. And they know it. So understand that this spiritual game is really spiritual. Understand that this spiritual game, yes, they really do want to take out our sons and our daughters. Yes, they really do want to take out marriages and generations. Because why? Because do you know that that's the most important and effective tool to combating the system of vanity? To have us talk to people and to have those people think about the vanity that they inherited from their forefathers. Have you noticed that? That now they're trying to change everything. We can't do this, we can't do that. Look, do you see how they are so terrified that our sons and daughters will look at certain things, will investigate certain things, will use critical thinking skills for certain things. They don't even want to teach them critical thinking skills. Trust me, I know. I see it every day in 8th grade. It doesn't get any better in high school. Trust me, I know. Do you realize they're going into captivity because of their lack of understanding, their lack of knowledge? They destroyed their knowledge just so they thought that they could destroy us. And they're going right into captivity. I mean, think about this. Think about this. The most stupidest thing in the world is to impose tariffs. You're not just taxing the other country, you're literally taxing yourself, and you think it's a great idea. And man, they've fallen for it hook, line, and sinker. They become an astonishment to themselves. We said we were going to be here because why? Because the Most High even said that this is going to be us. This is what's going to happen in the end. Take it up as a parable. These nations will look and shake their heads and be ashamed. But because they love the lie, because they love the lie, man, you can't tell them nothing. We would have healed Babylon. She refused to be healed. Why? Because she refused to acknowledge who the Most High's children were. She refused to acknowledge who they had held captive in the derision. She refused to acknowledge the children of Yehuda, the children of Jerusalem, Zion. She refused it. And now you have the curses. Cursed is a nation whose rulers are wicked, whose rulers are children. So we had to see everything for ourselves, and we had to experience all the hardships. We're going to be okay in Goshen, but when it's time to go, it's time to go. And I don't even believe that you're going to have a Goshen here. That's my personal opinion. Because this whole land is being cut off. Sorry, please forgive me. I'm still getting out of this head cold. That's just the drainage. They're cutting themselves off at this time. They're doing it to themselves. And they're doing it to themselves because they don't realize how this principality works. They've been exposed to a little bit too much truth, little too much exposure. And that exposure, you realize that they delete people over that. Give me a second, family. Yeah, sorry. When your nose has been clogged for like 5 straight days, I'm on the lookout for the smells of my dog. So we've been given all the articles here. We've been given the scriptures here. And they're literally wearing themselves. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 in action. This is as of today. Record number of Americans working more than one job. The report comes from Bureau of Labor Statistics. 8.9 million Americans reported working multiple jobs. It equates to approximately 5.4% of the workforce. I don't never like that. Like the five. To me, they always try to like revise down numbers and stuff like that. If it's, I would say if it's a single digit, square it. If it's 5%, that means you times it by 5. So it's probably 25%. You either square it or put a 0 on it. That's the real number. And I'm sorry, they're liars. They have zero credibility. And now you realize that they have zero credibility because everybody's trying to take their money and bounce. That's what happens when you are around liars. The world's not trying to invest in the lie anymore. Because why? Because when you expose the lie, then folks are going to say, well, you want to know what? They're liars. So I need to get my money out of here. Because why? Because if I have my money here last, then I'm screwed. A March report from the Federal Bank of St. Louis revealed 50.2% of multiple job holders in 2024 had a college degree, which is a 9.1% increase from 2019. If you're going to try to have some semblance of a traditional life with kids and a house and transportation, it takes a lot of money to do that. Because why? Because the American dream is dead. You want to know how bad it is? They don't even like to report to you what's happening in the Red Sea. They don't want to report to you what's happening with the Houthis. They get all their nonsensical arguments from people that have never even worked in the military, nor let alone had even worked the Houthi problem set. Been ordered and assigned to work the Houthi problem set. They probably never even met a Yemeni person in their life. And then they act like they know what's going on the Twitter sphere. And what ended up happening, like we had said, and what I had said a while ago, the Houthis had blocked down the Red Sea. They locked it down. They had destroyed. There's certain things I can show on here because it affects that. I probably am going to get kicked off of Twitter. Or not Twitter, YouTube. That's water. Those are open seas. I'm going to turn off the sound. Something got hit. That's why I always go to here. And he said multiple reputable sources. They're hitting the oil tankers because why? Because they're hitting things that they said they were going to hit that would affect that Eastern Mediterranean nation. And now all the bots are coming through. You get a lot of lies, some truth. No confirmation from CENTCOM yet. And you probably won't get a confirmation. They're saying that they hit. And now they said war declared versus America. We are now at war with America. We respond to any attack. We will not ease our Red Sea operations under U.S. pressure. The Red Sea crisis is now an open confrontation. I have to laugh because I don't think anybody ever like. Y'all don't know about them Houthis. No, no, no. Houthis be saying, ask Saudi about me. Ask Saudi about me. I'm a rustler. They rustle feathers. Oh, I knew y'all weren't going to hear nothing in the news regarding the Houthis. You want to know why? Because it was It was literally China that brokered the end of the Houthi aggression via Iran through the Saudi and Iran peace agreement. Saudi and Iran had peace agreements that were backed by, guess who? China. The U.S. couldn't help in ending that war, that conflict. And now they're going to hit every single major U.S. ship, and that includes British ship. And guess what that also hurts? It also hurts the European nations. They're now choked. You had the end of the ceasefire, that 30-day ceasefire. Do you all see what's happening? Why there's a collaboration on all these tariffs? Because probably in the next 90 days, the U.S. is going to be either not just completely broke, but you're going to have a major collapse of the supply chain. Because don't think that the Panama Canal is going to go easily from Chinese control. To me, this far outweighs anything that you see in Ukraine. How do you defeat America? Man, you starve it to death. How do you defeat the fat kid? I know this is so ignorant, but you got to take away the chocolate cake. Uh, take away the chocolate cake from the fat kid. What does the fat kid do? They throw a tantrum, they throw a fit. I'm dying. Heart attack. I'm dying. Y'all don't even know. This was, man, come on. I put my link on up there, StreamYard. Y'all want to go on up here. This is it. You have ships running into irregular ships. Take away that cake from the fat kid. You know, matter of fact, even the word has it that the dainties of Babylon. Cutting off the dainties of Babylon. Even, do you know the Most High even joked about that? I just made it a little bit more nuanced. Hallelujah. That was the back in the day movie. Red Sea crisis is now an open confrontation. They can't do anything. Look, I already knew. I said, look, they fired then. Ships are going to be bombed out now. And they're going to keep bombing them. Poor Reuters, Iran has been trying to get the Houthis to stop targeting shipping in the Red Sea. Draw your own conclusions from that. It said 2 senior Iranian officials told Reuters that Iran had delivered a verbal message to the Houthi envoy in Tehran on Friday to cool tensions, and that Iran's foreign minister asked Oman, which has mediated with the Houthis, to convey a similar message to the group when he visited Muscat. That's in Oman or Oman. Both officials asked not to be named. Why? Because they are now. You don't look. You mess with the honey badgers. Iran-backed Houthis have been targeting ships in the Red Sea since November 2023 in what they claim is a show of support for Palestinians in Gaza. They've been doing this for almost 18 months. It's breaking the United States financially. Yemen's Houthis attacked U.S. aircraft carrier in Red Sea for third time in 48 hours. Third time in 48 hours. It says Yemen's Houthis will not actions against blank shipping in the Red Sea in response to U.S. pressure. That's Al Arabia, Al Arabiya English. This is the most credible Middle Eastern news source that you can have on the continent, or in that Arabian Peninsula area, Al Arabiya. So if Al Arabiya is saying it, and no, you done kicked the hornet's nest, and what? And you're not gonna get boots on the ground there. They're saying can't stop, won't stop. They're giving them the take that, take that. This person says this is a great danger for all ships cruising the Red Sea because Houthis have optic fiber guided sleeping torpedoes placed at strategic locations. And technically I am not allowed to comment on that. But let's see. That is what the Houthis control right there. From the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. Oh, they're done. Done. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ninja Firewolf. No, they really thought that way. They really thought that. And Brother Garth, you're actually right. Yeah, Al Jazeera, but Al Arabiya leans more towards West. That's their Western aligned propaganda. They are out of Dubai, if I'm not mistaken, Al Arabiya. Al Jazeera is out of Qatar, and they are very neutral. The Qataris try to be very neutral. UAE is very, very West leaning in their media. Man, you can't make this up. The trade routes got disrupted. Instant news. And this is Crux. Houthis successfully attacked U.S. warship Truman for third time in Red Sea as Trump pounds Yemen's. Yemen's Houthis on Tuesday claimed their third attack on American warships in 48 hours, despite U.S. strikes on Iran back. Houthis won't dial down. Look, no matter what they try to strike, they're not going to do anything. Literally, there are thousands of targets. Literally, thousands of bunkers. They roll them on and off of their little mountain range over there, right into their caves. This is RT. Houthis won't dial down anti Eastern Mediterranean nation ship operations in Red Sea in response to U.S. military pressure. That Eastern Mediterranean nation is getting financially rocked. That's why Trump has to go in. They're fighting a war for a people that's losing. I told you all a couple of years ago in 2023 that they're stepping into the mud pit. Mm. I don't know how reliable those pictures are. But it shows some damage. Look, just the idea of making impact, it's showing impact. It made damage. So Houthis versus Iran versus U.S. Red Sea chaos just hit DEFCON 1. They're risking all for Gaza, but Trump's warning Iran could ignite a firestorm. That's Glock and roll. Khalid Ibn al-Walid says the Houthis are seriously hammering U.S. warships at the Red Sea. One U.S. aircraft carrier was hit and damaged severely by ballistic and cruise missiles, forcing another to flee. They're showing impact. They're not stopping. They're only going to intensify. This is today. We are now at war with America and will respond to any attack. We will not ease our activities in the Red Sea under American pressure. They are now going to target American vessels. This is the Houthi statement. They didn't just like cower, man. They called the US's bluff. They called the US's bluff for real. And when you're a ship versus land, you are literally already at a tactical disadvantage. The question that I have and I have to ask is, when will they unveil the hypersonics? Because you know they got them from Iran. And now technically Morocco had just stopped issuing visas to European nations, which means that Morocco is about to me, they're about to take a war footing, an economic war footing. Will they allow for sub-Saharan nations to do embargoes right there at the Strait of Gibraltar? Yeah, yeah, Javon, I hate to say it. Panelization is real. That's why the Navy never wanted to have any type of battles there in that area, Bab el Mandeb, the Strait of Hormuz, none of that. Those are tactical disadvantages to be canalized. So now it looks as though there may be a coordinated effort. Because watch, I believe, to me, what I believe next, in my opinion, next you're going to start to see China come through. And that's going to be after Iran has its own embargo. It's going to paralyze the Fifth Fleet. What are you going to do? What's the U.S. going to do next? Can't do anything. They're going to be drawn literally right into an attack. Yemen holds all the cards. And you don't have gunboat diplomacy, brother Rick, when you have missiles. When you have surface to surface missiles like that, that can range like that. And you see in the water, all they have are just spotters. They're Yemeni fishing men that are just spotters. And that's all they're doing. You see what they're doing? They're getting the video out. They're getting the word out. Again, in my personal opinion, I believe that even if you did have anything happen or occur, guess what? They wouldn't say anything. They didn't the last time. And it was only certain news outlets that reported that some of the ships had taken damage the last time. And they've been doing this. Look, they've been doing this since November of 2023. Since November of 2023. And I laugh when these folks say they still don't get it. Like, no, you don't get it. The Houthis never had the ceasefire brokered by the United States. It was done because of China with Saudi Arabia. These folks are vicious. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? No comment. Show you that video again. Those are caskets at sea with flags draped over them. While ships are dead in the water on fire. That's the Houthis, man. Houthis don't care. Houthis do not care. They don't play. They've attacked the American Navy 174 times. Houthis claim they are in control of the Red Sea and will dictate who uses one of the most important waterways on the planet. What exactly do you expect us to do? That is the actual most realistic statement that I've seen here for tiny bubbles, tiny beer bubbles. Because you got to remember, people try to be caught up in their in their delusions, and they want you to be caught up in their delusions. Do you see how this witchcraft works? Join us. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to. We're going to. Oh yeah, it's not looking good for them. I'm just surprised that the AI bots with them floating caskets draped in American flags didn't come yet. Usually they'll be up in here real thick. That no, this is their this is their little propaganda video right there. They got a all dramatic. They try to make that thing sound like an animated Stephen King. Don't tell you the Houthis don't play. Yemen's Houthis to continue attacks on Eastern Mediterranean nation linked shipping in Red Sea. Hmm. Yeah. There's a mountain range right here. I think this coast is about maybe 6 or 7 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't done this in over 5 years. Sorry. These mountains, they're not touching them. Everything's polarized in this. Americans are working 2 jobs or more. Now that was an AI video, but that was their the little propaganda video. You got to have your little propaganda video. That's what this thing is happening. Yeah, peekaboo, peekaboo. Their Middle East supply is about to get cut off drastically. And Turkey's not having any of the EU stuff, the European Union stuff either. It's a real wild card. Look, while it may look like it's the end of the race, the Most High is literally just getting things started. We're not going to faint. We're not going to be broken. We will prevail because the Most High will allow us to prevail. Now, understand why this dollar is at work, or excuse me, at war. The dollar's at war. What does this mean for us? We have to have and grow our relationships with our people. That's what I'm getting ready to do here in about another couple of hours. Now's the time we have to work with our brothers and sisters. I know everybody has their own thing, and that's okay. What I do have to say, though, is now you understand and you all can get where we're at firsthand. I don't care how people want to act like this or act like that. All I can do is just tell you scriptures. Obadiah, Joel chapter 3, Zephaniah. You can do Zephaniah chapter 3. You can do Habakkuk chapter 2. You can do Haggai, Amos, Zechariah, Daniel. The list goes on and on and on regarding how we will be in the place we will be in this time. Our time of uncertainty, this time of uncertainty for them should be a time of certainty of how the Most High is moving. The Most High is literally moving on behalf of his people. Do you not see what's going on in Burkina Faso? Come on. Do you not see what's going on in Africa? And how our brothers and sisters on the continent are getting the backbone back, are beginning to stand tall, and are beginning to say, you know what? It's time for you to leave. This is a different season for us. This is a different moment for us. And we have to seize the moment. We don't need to do anything to lift the finger. That's not us. The Most High has put the rulers of these nations over us. That's not for us to defy his will. But guess what? We're here to see and to look at their crumbling and their demise. That's how that goes. We don't need to do anything else but to see the Most High move in this day and this time, in this season. So, with that said, family, I am going to get up on out of here and get some things done that I didn't get a chance to get done yesterday as I was recovering. Hallelujah. But with that said, family, Y'all have a blessed and awesome day. And remember that Yahoo is always with you as you are covered under the blood of his son, Yahusha HaMashiach. That's it. That's what we need to know. That's how we need to know things. Don't get yourself worked up about any man or any other situation. The battles is the Most High's. Plain and simple. So, family, if you'd like to support this channel, you may do so. I definitely appreciate your all support. Again, family, with all this, I don't know how long we will be on channels like these because we have a different message than other channels. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. Yeah, we're waiting on the other side and it's going to do this and this and no. I believe in what the word says. I truly do. I thank the Most High for these now almost 2 years of preparations. And the preparations was to be able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent. And that was an awesome thing for the Most High to do for us, especially at this time. So, family, with that, that's all I have. With that, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Peace and blessings, Yasharel.